I want you to imagine you're pregnant. You have 6 other children at home and you live in the mountains of East Timor. Your husband's very violent, especially at night when he's been drinking. You go to your antenatal care appointment and your midwife notices bruises on your arms and your back. You finally get the courage to tell her that your husband came home and beat you with a piece of wood until you're unconscious. Now you're worried about your baby. And your midwife's response? She asks you what you did to provoke him. She gives you some advice. She says, go home and be a good wife. Be patient and don't make him angry in the future. Unfortunately, this response is all too common in East Timor, where the rates of violence are staggering. Around 50% of women have experienced physical or sexual violence from their partner in the past 12 months. This is 20 to 30 times higher than rates in Australia. I have an early career research fellowship to look at how the health system responds to violence against women in Timor. When my supervisors and I first started looking at this issue through an RFA grant, we found that this response was common, but there were other midwives who were going to great lengths to help women, and most just didn't know what to do. But they all said, please, can you give us training? We need support from our senior leaders and our health managers to do this really difficult work. So our aim is to support the health system to take up their leadership role and make real changes for women who are experiencing violence. We're doing this through 3 key areas of research. We're looking at what are the knowledge and practices of midwives as the key providers of care for women and children in Timor. We're talking to survivors of violence around their their needs, their health and safety needs, but also what they really want from their health providers. What care do they value? And we're talking with policymakers around how do we support leadership and action from the health centre to the policy level. Importantly, we're using this research as an opportunity to create real change on the ground. For example, we're working with the World Health Organization and universities in Timor to develop a curriculum for the nursing, midwifery and medical degrees. This is a 9-week training course, and along with that, when we interviewed the midwives, they said, we really need video in order to help with our learning. So we developed some video role plays to go along with that, and some films which share women's stories. So this course has now been piloted at 2 universities with the nursing and midwifery students, and we found significant increase in their knowledge after the training. So this went from around 50% at baseline to over 90% in the final pilot. What's really exciting is we're seeing the biggest change in students' attitudes that tolerate violence. The course is now being taken up by all universities that have health-related degrees in Timor. So this means that all health providers who graduate will have the knowledge and skills to not only help women and children in their clinical practice, but in their families and communities. Our experiences are being fed back to the World Health Organization's global curriculum so that students in other countries will be exposed to these issues. And now, at the moment, we're writing the first university textbook in the local language Tetun, so that students will have a go-to guide when they start working in the services. But we can't stop there. We need to change the landscape of care within services. Our next step is to adapt and pilot that pre-service curriculum for use with health centres, hospitals, and at the community level. We really need to understand how we can use the training to actually change practice. So what models of training change this response to violence against women? And we need to understand how we can support leadership so that health managers are able to implement these changes. So I'd like to leave you with a quote from one of our research participants who'd suffered terrible abuse from her father. Her voice is in one of our videos, and I think it applies to all of us. My message is to women across Timor-Leste. If you have trouble like me, don't keep it closed. Share with others who will understand our situation. As women, we must be strong. Don't sit in one place and stress. Find a friend and help each other so we can escape from the problems we face. Thank you.